My name is Kira Williams. And the night everything in my life shattered started like any other shift. I kissed my 3-year-old daughter Maya on her forehead. Her tiny chocolate curls spread across the pillow like a little halo. I whispered, "Mommy will be back soon," even though my heart squeezed, the same way it always did. When I left her for the night shift. At the hospital. Bills don't care about fatigue, and my husband, Aiden's business ventures were barely paying for his gym membership, let alone our mortgage. I called out, "I'm heading out," but Aiden didn't even look at me. He was stretched across the couch scrolling his phone, the glow reflecting off his pale skin like a spotlight highlighting his disinterest. "Yeah, cool," he muttered. 7 years of marriage, and that was what our goodbye sounded like. I walked out carrying my badge, my stethoscope, and that familiar invisible weight of disappointment on my shoulders. When I sat in the car, my phone buzzed. It was Maya's baby monitor app sending its usual nightly notification. I'd upgraded it months ago, the kind that let me stream her sleeping live and saved recordings to the cloud. $39 a month for peace of mind felt cheap back then. I pulled into the hospital garage at 11:15 p.m., the fluorescent lights washing my car in sickly yellow. Before stepping out, I opened the baby monitor, just to see my little girl one last time before my shift started. But Maya wasn't alone. Aiden was standing in her room, leaning against the doorframe, whispering into his phone. And because the baby monitor had a 2-way audio feature, I heard everything. "She just left," Aiden said. "We've got 8 hours. Tonight we do it." My heart slammed against my ribs. A woman's voice answered, smooth and casual. "The insurance policy is $2 million. Nobody will suspect a thing. Just follow the plan." My fingers trembled so violently I almost dropped my phone. This couldn't be real. Aiden may have been cold, distant, selfish, but murder? No, not my husband. Not the father of my little girl. Aiden's voice stayed calm. "You're sure about the dosage?" Then the woman laughed softly. "Baby, I'm a pharmacist. I told you. 20 milligrams in her morning coffee. She'll think it's just a migraine. By the time she realizes something's wrong, her organs will already be shutting down. They'll call it natural causes." She knew my age, my schedule, my routine. They'd talked about this, a lot. My entire world tilted. Aiden's voice dropped even lower. "What about Maya?" I held my breath, praying he would say something, anything, that proved he still had a shred of humanity left. Instead, the woman replied, "Your daughter gets a trust fund. And we get to be together. Win-win." They both laughed. Laughed. I hit record. My body acted on instinct, the way nurses do during emergencies. Document everything. The woman's voice purred. "I'll be there at 6. You make her coffee like you always do. I'll have the pills ready. She won't taste a thing." My husband, my white, smiling, blue-eyed husband, who once cried on our wedding day, nodded like they were planning a vacation. Then he whispered her name. Simone. I'd never hated a name before. I sat frozen in my car while Aiden walked over to Maya's bed, gently fixing her blanket with those same hands that used to rub my feet during pregnancy. How many versions of him existed? The charming father? The cold partner? The calculating killer? I dialed 911. "My name is Kira Williams," I whispered. "My husband is planning to murder me. I have it recorded. Please, my daughter is inside the house." The dispatcher kept me on the line, instructing me to send the recording. I forwarded it with shaking hands. Officers were 3 minutes away. On the monitor, I watched Aiden leave Maya's room and wander into the living room, still on the phone, still talking to Simone, still promising that it'll all be over soon. Then the front door burst open. Officers stormed inside, shouting commands. Aiden froze, his pale face draining to pure terror as they grabbed him, cuffed him, and read him his rights. Then I heard Maya cry. A soft voice, a female officer, rushed into her room, lifting her into her arms, whispering that Mommy was coming soon. My baby's tears soaked her little quilt, the one my grandmother made. I drove home in a daze, barely aware of the road. 1 hour earlier, I'd been a wife, a mother, a nurse heading to work. Now I was an almost murder victim, and a single mother. At home, Detective Rodriguez, a black woman with deep, tired eyes, sat across from me and gently asked everything. When did I suspect the affair? I hadn't. I thought Aiden was stressed. I blamed myself for working too much. She showed me phone records, bank statements. Aiden had drained our joint accounts. He'd rented a secret apartment. He'd been cheating for over 2 years. Then she told me something that broke whatever pieces of me were still intact. Simone was pregnant, 4 months along. They were building a new life after ending mine. But the worst came days later. Detective Rodriguez and a prosecutor sat me down and said they needed to re-examine my mother's death. My mother had died suddenly last year, in our home, after eating dinner Aiden cooked. Her body was exhumed. The toxicology report found potassium chloride, a drug that induces cardiac arrest and mimics natural heart failure. Aiden had used my mother as practice. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Aiden and Simone were charged with conspiracy to murder me, fraud, and the murder of my mother. The trial lasted weeks. Aiden looked smaller every day, a ghost of the man I'd once loved. Simone tried to play the victim, but the texts, the evidence, the recordings, everything exposed them. The jury delivered the verdict. Guilty. Aiden got life without parole. Simone got 30 years. I felt nothing, just an empty space where a life used to be. 6 months later, Maya and I moved across the country. My sister came with us. New home, new job, new beginning. People always ask how I didn't see the signs, how I didn't know the man next to me in bed was plotting my death. And I tell them the truth. It wasn't my job to catch him being evil. It was his job to not be evil. But he failed. And I survived. For Maya, for my mother, and for the woman I refused to stop becoming.